Bingo Blitz rules.
If your bingo has ads in it,
That's not a bingo.
if it doesn't have the coolest tournaments, mini games, and the most breathtaking design,
Nope, not a bingo.
if your bingo moment makes you feel so excited that you just want to burst in joy and scream out loud, bingo! Sorry, so you're playing...
Bingo Blitz? Now that's a bingo. Discover a world of excitement with Bingo Blitz, the #1 free bingo game. Download Bingo Blitz and play for free.
Now that's a bingo.
Hi, I'm Jennifer, a co-founder of the Go Kid Go network. At Go Kid Go, putting kids first is at the heart of every show that we produce. That's why we're so excited to introduce a brand new show to our network called The Search for the Silver Lining, a fantasy adventure series about a spirited young girl named Isla who time travels to the mythical land of Camelot. During her journey, Isla meets new friends, including King Arthur and his Knights of the Round Table, and learns valuable life lessons with every quest, sword fight, and dragon ride. Positive and uplifting stories remind us all about the importance of kindness, friendship, honesty, and positivity. Join me and an all-star cast of actors including Liam Neeson, Emily Blunt, Kristen Bell, Chris Hemsworth, among many others, in welcoming the Search for the Silver Lining podcast to the Go Kid Go network by listening today. Look for the Search for the Silver Lining on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Hey, hi, hello. Welcome to another episode of But Am I Wrong? Starring two people who, you know what? Still to this day, we have never been wrong about anything ever.
They stay in their right lane. They mind their own business unless it's presented to them.
This does mean that you have to take back what you said off air, that I am wrong for thinking Linda Cardellini and Lizzie Kaplan aren't the same person.
They aren't the same person. I'm sorry.
Unless I've never been wrong.
They literally aren't the same person.
Okay, if anyone else agrees with me in this, and I think the crux of this of why we disagree is because I don't know that they're not the same age, because everything I watch them in, they're the same age in those roles. Do you know?
I know that
Lindy
I know
Claps.
that
We're creating a third
I
one.
know that Lizzie Kaplan is closer to my age. Correct.
I don't know. I don't know
think
anything
she
about
is-
this.
Hold on. Lizzie.
I think that they were friends because they are in all the casting rooms together, and you were like,
Okay,
they're
well,
not
she's
the same
older.
age.
So she's 41, but I think of her Mean Girls age, okay? And then I think about Linda Cardellini, who was on Freaks and Geeks, and I was a child then. And so therefore, there's a difference in ages. And
Allegedly.
now I watch,
But they're both in New Girl. How crazy is that?
who was Lizzie?
She played Nick's girlfriend. And I just have to say,
When?
like, which fucking writer on New Girl is just fucking obsessed with brunettes with bangs? Because, oh my God, every fucking woman on that show is a brunette with bangs.
That is true.
Like, there's never not a brunette with bangs.
That
like,
is true.
Prince is the only fucking guest star who is,
Prince has
Prince
bangs.
has
What are you
bangs.
talking about?
oh my God, as you said that, I'm seeing the look that Prince had. I'm like, Prince has every brunette with bangs. No, Melissa, that was my only leg I had to stand on, was that Prince didn't have bangs.
Prince has bangs.
Prince,
Depending on when we're looking
but
during his career, I
Prince
haven't
in
seen
New Girl
I
had
haven't seen
bangs.
I haven't seen New Girl since it came out. I also love the fact that Prince got Kardashians kicked off the show,
I love it.
even though I think it was going to be my best friend, my ex-best friend.
Yeah. R.I.P.
But
Yep, Prince had bangs. Prince had curtain bangs.
yeah, Prince is known for his luscious hair.
Wow. So
I had bangs for a long time.
I have bangs too. So did you have bangs when you were straightening and like relaxing your hair?
Mhm.
Okay. When you were growing them out, you started pulling them to
Yeah,
the
but
side.
that just meant that I just needed to get them cut. But
Yeah. that was a choice there. I really, really, really wanted bangs and like heavy side bangs, the whole thing. And I had straight across bangs when I was like little for a bit. And then I had them in high school, but it was before curly bangs were a thing.
Mm.
So my hair would be wavy.
Yeah.
And then I would straighten my bangs.
It was before and after though, because like you missed the 80s, 90s swing of it.
Oh,
And then,
yeah.
yeah.
Well,
So
didn't
you were
also
just
89s, didn't they just like also specifically just curl their bangs
Yeah.
too?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was
So
on
you just
the precipice
missed
of a
it.
new
Yeah.
trend.
Yeah.
Of,
You miss because older people at the time in the 2000s were like, why do y'all all have your hair so straight? Like they'd talk about how like
Oh yeah.
everybody just had like bone straight hair was what they'd say.
No, that was
we all had our cheese and we're just flat ironing it every single fucking day.
When I tell you, I started watching like one of my like favorite genres is people just doing their hair or getting their hair done. Like I don't like ASMR videos, but like that to me is a visual ASMR. The first time
that makes no sense.
No, I know but it tickles my brain. But I just don't want to hear the sounds because I don't like that. So it's visual. I would just have to change the acronym, but I don't really know where the
visually stimulating. They usually say oddly satisfying, that type of stuff.
That kind of thing. But that's how I am. And it like makes me like puts me to sleep is hair video. People like doing their hair where they're like braiding their hair, taking braids out of their hair, deep cleaning their hair, anything. Mm-hmm. When I tell you the first time I saw someone with that thin little comb going through your hair as you're straightening it to make sure it gets straight, I was like, my life would have been so different. Like I never had straight hair because I didn't do that. So it just was the puffy straight, not the slick straight.
To be in my dorm hallway at that time, the smell, it just smelled like burning hair all the time.
Like, but also just the precision that you have and the attention to detail. I'm like, there's a different level of like, oh, you getting ready for a wedding. Like, you know how to do your, like.
You should, here's one that's going to really get you. A hot comb.
I ended up on that part of TikTok as well. And I was like.
Yeah. A hot comb with when you've got a fro and going through that. That's a really satisfying look at. Even when because I had to, before I got my hair braided, I had to blow it out. Yeah. I'll show you a picture. Like, my hair was
so long.
Humongous. Like it was this big. And then when I got there, my hairstylist was like, did you blow dry this? I said, yeah, it's just big. And she's like, you wear your hair natural all the time. I said, yeah. And she's like, well, it's just trying to revert back because it's not used to whatever. Yeah. But then she went through it like with her blow dryer and it got so much. My hair's like down here, but it got so much. When I say down here, it's like to the inside of my elbow. Yeah. And when she went through it, I was like, see, this is somebody that knows how to blow dry.
Like you're like, we are operating with the same equipment, but like the results you are achieving are vastly different. A blow dryer and a flat iron to me, like now that I've seen that that's how everybody had been flat ironing their hair, I was like, oh, that is why that works. I was not operating with with the same
but also
knowledge level.
Your hair was wanting to go back. Yeah. And
it was like, I also had nobody in my family had any texture to their hair. So it was like, no one's straightening their hair. No one's curling their hair. It's like, I mean, curling would have been a thing like, oh, you know, like the squishy, like flexi rod, those kinds of curls. But like nobody was straightening their hair. My grandma was getting her hair permed. And so me trying to straighten my hair, you just have all these very, very thin, fine blonde hair, like 9 hairs on their head going like, I don't know how to help you. And I'm just walking out of the house with my hair like a triangle, a yield sign.
Yeah.
And now I'm like, I don't love like straight hair on me. But now that I know that is the trick, I want to see what my hair looks like straight because I've never had it that straight in my life. Wow. And she got it straightened with just a blow dryer.
Yep.
You can see the video. We're showing the picture on Patreon. How long did that take her?
Like 30 minutes. This is me doing it and then she went through 30 minutes.
The biceps on hairstyle, that's like so fucking impressive. Mm-hmm. It like also hurts me more when I blow dry.
As a podcast network, our first priority has always been audio and the stories we're able to share with you. But at Realm, we also sell some pretty cool merch, and organizing that was made both possible and easy with Shopify. When you think about successful businesses like Aloe or Allbirds or Skims, an often overlooked secret is the business behind the business that makes selling and, for shoppers, buying simple. For millions of businesses, that business is Shopify. That's because nobody does selling better than Shopify. It's the home of the #1 checkout on the planet. And the not-so-secret secret that's definitely worth talking about is that Shop Pay boosts conversions up to 50%. That's more happy customers and way more sales going. If you're hoping to grow your business, your commerce platform better be ready to sell wherever your customers are scrolling or strolling, on the web, in your store, in their feed, and everywhere in between. Businesses that sell more, sell on Shopify. Upgrade your business and get the same checkout we use with Shopify. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/realm, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/realm to upgrade your selling today. Shopify.com/realm.
My hair, and I don't even do a good of a job.
My arms were tired.
Yeah. And like my head will hurt, and like they'll do it, and I'm like, I could fall asleep right here.
Mm-hmm.
And you did so much of a better job.
And I was tired as fuck because that was the day I finished my script on Wednesday. Then I had to get my hair done on Thursday. So I'd been up all night. I slept for maybe like 3 hours and then got up at 5 to do my hair, wash and do all this shit. So she's like doing it. It was so relaxing. The warmness of it hitting. And I'm just like, I want to go to sleep, but I will pass the fuck out.
Yeah. Did you fall asleep?
No.
Do you think if you did, would she tell you?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I stayed up. I did work.
Never stop in that grind.
No.
Your hair looks gorgeous. Check it out on Patreon, everyone, if you want to support the show. So this is a podcast where we have multiple different segments in here. And what you really need to know through line for all of us is that we're not wrong. We have never been wrong, and we will never be wrong. So you hear that iteration in different things. We will go through each of our segments before we launch right into them. But buckle up. We like to call this ethical gossip. Mm-hmm. Oh, I forgot to say, one of the best parts about this show is your interaction, listeners, watchers, if you're on Patreon. We put up stories on our Instagram that go over each segment and each thing that we talk about in an episode. And you can vote on who you think was wrong, who you think is a hero, the villain. And then you can also write in if you have more thoughts and feelings, you want to share those. And we read the results on Friday's episode, which is called Fisting Friday. So do we even remember who started last time? Do you care?
I do remember. Hold on. Because I just listened to the episode.
Oh, yep.
I guess it's me. I'm up first.
I need to wake the fuck up.
I do too. So this is But Am I Wrong? Where we pick something from our personal lives. Could be a hot take, could be a rant, could just be something that's really grinding our gears. And we bring it to the table.
To the cornucopia.
And this week, I would like to talk about the definition of boundaries and the definition of red flags. And you're probably wondering what inspired this.
I have no idea. What could it be?
What could it be? Could it be one not famous person who is had a child with a famous person? Could it be one famous person that was dating someone that was close to child age?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I'll get into the definitions and then bring the 2 case studies.
I love it. Evidence. Peer reviewed.
Boundaries. Boundaries in the context of a relationship are the limits we set for ourselves and others. They define what we're comfortable with and what we are not comfortable with. Boundaries can be physical, emotional, or sexual. So some examples of boundaries in a relationship are physical boundaries. They involve physical space and contact with others. For example, you might set a boundary that's like, I don't want to be touched in any type of way without consent. Or that like, I don't want to share a bed with a partner because I get sweaty at night. It's a boundary. It's something that you set for yourself. Keyword, yourself. Emotional boundaries. These boundaries involve our emotional needs and how we interact with others. For example, you might set a boundary that you need time to yourself after a stressful day, or that you don't want to talk about your problems with your partner all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And then sexual boundaries. These boundaries involve sexual activity and comfort level with certain sexual acts. Like you might set a boundary that you don't want to have sex before marriage, or that you don't want to like have anal sex.
Mm-hmm.
Some people that have sex before marriage do not consider anal sex. So
and you know what? That's their boundary.
That's their boundary. So they're important in relationships because they help us feel safe, respected, and comfortable. They also help us communicate what we need, our expectations. And when you have healthy boundaries, you have a healthy relationship. And some tips for setting boundaries.
Give it to us.
Be clear and direct. When you're setting a boundary, be clear about what you're comfortable with and what you're not comfortable with about things for yourself. Be respectful when you're setting a boundary. Be respectful of your partner's feelings and needs. Be willing to compromise. Sometimes you need to compromise on your boundaries. This is okay as long as you're comfortable with it and it's, again, communicated clearly.
Yep.
And be consistent. Once you've set a boundary, be consistent with it. This means enforcing the boundary even when it's difficult. So, case study, you'll talk more about it, but I'm talking about it in this context. But old boy, Jonah Hill.
Yep.
He set boundaries with, well, what he calls setting boundaries. But is this actual setting boundaries when we break down what was said? So he said, if you need, and this is what he said to his then partner, if you need surfing with men, inappropriate friendships with men, to model, to post pictures of yourself in the bathing suit, to post sexual pictures, friendships with women who are unstable or in unstable places from your recent wild past.
I literally have it memorized.
Beyond getting a lunch or coffee or something respectful. I am not the right partner for you. If these things bring you to a place of happiness, I support it. And there will be no hard feelings. These are my boundaries for romantic partners. My boundaries with you based on the way these boundaries have hurt our trust. These are things, first of all, she's a professional surfer.
Yeah.
She's going to be in bathing suits. She's going to be surfing with men. She's going to be hanging out with her friends. Like, what's wild past? Like, yesterday?
Mm-hmm.
Like, none of this makes sense because these are not boundaries. What this is, these are red flags. And red flags in a relationship is warning signs that indicate something is wrong or potentially dangerous. In the context of relationships, red flags are behaviors or actions that suggest that a person may be unhealthy or manipulative. Some common red flags in relationships include controlling behavior, that's trying to isolate you from your family or friends, making all decisions in the relationship, or being overtly jealous.
Mm-hmm.
Seems like that's exactly what that text message was saying. Verbal abuse, physical abuse. We don't know about that, but this is just an example. Emotional abuse, addiction, history of violence. And if you see red flags in a relationship, it's important to trust your gut and get out of the relationship. There's no excuse for unhealthy or manipulative behavior, and you deserve to be in a relationship with someone who respects you and treats you well and doesn't try to change who you are.
Mm-hmm.
So changing who you are, let's say that you go to an Usher concert.
You're also asking Usher to change who he is. Like, where was
Right.
that? Where was the scolding of Usher for ushering? Like, kiki'd, and Usher was ushering.
But the thing is that, what is this man's name?
You know what? You want to call him Darius Rucker, but it's not.
I know. So Darius Jackson, who is the father of Keke Palmer's child. If you're new here, then you should know that this is a Keke Palmer stand podcast.
Keke Palmer is our sister.
Uh-huh.
You know, you hear Meghan, Melisa, Keke. We're the trio. Like, you
She
can't find
also
one without the other.
Helps to keep the lights on in this podcast too.
Keke's podcast also sponsors our podcast.
Yes.
And like, again, we are sisters. We stand together.
Yes, and we were standing with her way before. Like, we talk about her a lot. And so anybody that has a problem with Keke,
You got a big problem with us?
you got a problem with us. So when this man, who is a fitness trainer, I believe.
Melissa, when I tell you I thought he played for the Eagles or was at least a trainer for the Eagles, and when I found out this man was just a professional football fan, I was like, my guy. No, this is, if you have made your sports team this much of a personality trait and you actually aren't employed by that team, even from like,
but he's from Philadelphia, and
no, Melissa, he tweets like, back,
I know,
like we're heading back, and I go, oh, he's like day one training camp. He's not.
I know.
I read his entire Twitter feed and I thought he was a like. It took me till Google to figure out he didn't play for them.
When I learned that he was from Philadelphia, I was like, oh, this makes sense. This is how Philadelphia men are. Philly, I should say. Philly men are.
You know, I don't deny that as somebody who...
Oh, yeah, that's where your family's from.
Yeah. I agree with you.
So Kiki went to Usher's residency in Las Vegas, and she was wearing a sheer black Givenchy dress and just enjoying the crooning of Mr. Usher Raymond.
Usher.
U-S-H-E-R.
Make that the Olympic anthem.
Why? M-O-N-D. Tell me what you want to do with me. So,
Hi, I'm Jennifer, a founder of the Go Kid Go network. At Go Kid Go, putting kids first is at the heart of every show that we produce. That's why we're so excited to introduce a brand new show to our network called The Search for the Silver Lining, a fantasy adventure series about a spirited young girl named Isla who time travels to the mythical land of Camelot. Look for The Search for the Silver Lining on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Spot on.
He's singing to her. I don't know if y'all saw a few months ago, Issa Rae also went and
I'd like to see that video.
You should see it.
I would like to see it.
You should see it.
I'm going to see it later.
I wouldn't be surprised if Issa had a very enjoyable outcome from how he was in her face and the look of sheer lustful exhilaration in her eyes. I've watched Issa since Awkward Black Girl. I watched every episode of Insecure. I've seen her in sex scenes. I know what her acting O-face is, and I've never seen her face look the way it did.
Good for her.
And the thing is, she's a married woman, and that man did not get on Beyonce's internet and tweet some foolish shit like this man, Darius Jackson, who said, "It's the outfit though. You a mom." And at first some people thought, haha, he's being funny. Like,
even like, damn, like, or people being like, it was a compliment. He's like, look at that outfit and you're a whole mom. Like, that's my, like, look how good you look.
Mm-hmm. So, you know, of course the internet loves Kiki, and they came to her defense and said, and one person said, "Mom, not wife. I suggest you shut up."
Oh, that was his second one when he referred to her as his wife. Did you see that one?
Yeah, I did. I'm getting there.
Okay.
And then, unless there's a ring on that woman's finger, you don't have a place, man. And even if y'all was married, not a solid look publicly shaming the mother of your child for her outfit. Possessions don't usually go well in relationships, and you're with an extremely famous person. Better grow thicker skin. And then somebody else said, "Don't date a baddie if you're gonna be this insecure." And then he said, "We live in a generation where a man..."
We live in a society that gives you the same vibe.
Yeah, we live in a generation where a man of the family doesn't want the wife and mother to his kids to showcase booty cheeks to please other, and gets told how much of a hater he is. This is my family and my representation. I have standards and morals to what I believe. I rest my case. And, you know, I guess he did rest his case for like a hot second because he got bullied off Twitter for a second. But when I say a second, not even like a full day. First of all, let's break this down. All of this is a red flag. We're a man of the family. What does that mean? You're trying to say like you can't say that you're the head of the household because you live in Kiki's house.
Yep.
You can't say that you're like the man of the house because, again, you live in Kiki's house. You can't say that you're the man of the home because you live in Kiki's house. And he said, doesn't want the wife and mother to his kids. Y'all aren't married, and kids, you only have one kid together.
And who's paying for that child?
To showcase booty cheeks to please others. She wore that because she thought she looked good, and she did look damn good. Mm-hmm. I highly doubt that she was wearing that because she was like, yeah, I want all these other men to look at me. And even if she was, so what?
Yep.
You don't get on the internet and say that and then get told how much of a hater I am. This is my family and my representation. Kiki's gonna be Kiki, and Kiki has always been Kiki her whole fucking life. Like, you represent what? Nobody, you could walk down the street and you know what? No one would know a thing. Sorry to this man.
Truly.
I have standards and morals to what I believe. If we're going to talk about standards and morals, and I'm not saying this as somebody, I'm just presenting this. You had a child out of wedlock.
Exactly. Traditional what?
Right. What I'm reading between the lines is that I'm jealous of Usher and I don't know how to express it, so I'm going to attack Kiki.
I'm jealous of Usher, but I still want to be friends with Usher, and I want Usher to think I'm cool. And I would rather put down the women who, whether they had broken up already at this time, I would rather put down the mother of my child who I owe something to. I'm valuing that current relationship over the prospective relationship that I think I'm going to become friends with Usher. Mm-hmm. That is so embarrassing.
It's so embarrassing for him. Unrealistic. These are the red flags. This is like red flag of controlling, manipulating. You don't tell a woman what to wear and what not to wear. Being jealous, possessive, calling her, like, saying that this is my family, I can do whatever the fuck I want. Being immature and having unrealistic expectations. Yeah. So, I just want to remind people what boundaries and red flags are, because sometimes these overly, I saw somebody say this, saying that, like,
maybe mention go to therapy.
Yeah. Saying, like, before I was like, men, go to therapy. I see that as a green flag. But I guess if you go to therapy and actually listen and understand what's being said and don't try to use that to manipulate other people, then cool. Mm-hmm. But then taking words from therapy and trying to use them to manipulate, like, you didn't learn anything.
No, you took a notebook out and learned how to manipulate people better. Yeah, there's a specific subset of people who do not benefit from therapy in a sense that it makes people worse, not just, I wasn't receptive to it. It's narcissists, abusers, and a hell of a lot of men. And that one's more of a gray area of picking and choosing. Mm-hmm. The thing that I think is the word I think we need to teach men is deal breakers. Yeah. Because
I actually have that written down too. Yeah.
I think that's the word you are all missing from your vocabulary and of how to execute that, which is, okay, that is done.
Yeah. So if something's a deal breaker for you, and it's kind of, and I'm not picking on the person that wrote in a while ago about their partner going to a strip club, and they wrote in and they were like, is this a red flag that he wants to go to a strip club? And that person also said, like, I set boundaries that he can't go to strip clubs. It's kind of the same thing. That's not a red flag, and that's not a boundary. Those are deal breakers for you. Yep. So if it's a deal breaker, then the deal is broken. Mm-hmm. Uncouple.
Yep. Consciously. Mm-hmm. Or unconsciously uncoupling. Yeah. Though, and we talk about that all the time. Mm-hmm. So I would urge these men to listen to our podcasts. Yeah. We really do break down what boundaries truly mean. Mm. Thank you for that.
You're welcome. I was angry.
Yeah. It just felt like it was like a dick fighting contest in the last week of who can be a bigger piece of shit.
Literal dick fighting with Elon Musk telling Mark Zuckerberg to whip out his penis and measure it. He literally wants them to measure it because he's mad about Threads.
I just have to say, homophobic, transphobic, straight, specifically in this, cis straight men have the biggest infatuation with other people's genitalia. Mm-hmm.
They really do. They really do.
Unsettling and off-putting. And as they point figures of you're obsessed with everyone's genitals. And it goes, nobody talked about anyone's genitals except for you.
Right.
Stop. Fucking weirdo.
Mm-hmm. Oh, also, we have to highlight the fact that she dropped merch the day after.
True Jackson VP.
Yeah.
Never an off day. Never an off day.
Kiki, can we know your merch person?
Kiki, that's a straight up plea. Yeah. Kiki and Kiki's team, if you are listening, please shoot us an email. We would love to know your merch person.
Yeah.
If someone else does, if you work for a merch company, let us know.
Let us know.
But thank you for that. Shame on a curse on all of their houses.
Yeah.
And you know what? He doesn't even live in that home anymore. Now, for a very swift pivot, but am I wrong, might be one of my hotter takes. And that take is purely determined, and my entire stance is based on my own personal feelings and my emotions about this.
Okay. The last couple times you've done this, they've been direct attacks against me.
Melissa, I can't promise you that this also is not a direct attack against you. But I don't know, and I'm going to tell you right now, if this is a direct attack against you, that is because you are going, the things that I would say that you value, the things that you rank high on the God no nevers, I would think would override some of the other things you value. So I would be shocked if this was something that you were like all for, because you would have to be putting away a lot of things that you don't fuck with.
Okay.
I think we have evolved past the need for cruises.
Oh, I hate cruises.
Yeah, but you like luxury, but you hate germs and you hate being in close quarters with people. So I was like, if you ride for cruises, that means that you are valuing a luxurious lifestyle above things that I know that you care about so much more.
No.
Yeah. So here's the thing with cruises. I think cruises have served their course. If you want to hit up the Royal Caribbean, you can catch me on Shipping Julia. Check that out. I've done 2 cruises in the span of, I think I did 1 month. Maybe it was almost like a month and a half. I just did a cruise 6 weeks back to back. I maybe had 1 week in breaks.
But how did you start this?
How did I start?
You said, I think cruises have done something.
No, I think they've run their course. Like I think
why
cruises.
Why would you say they sell their course?
Facts. Good one. And I think it's time to let them out to sea, to do what they're going to do. But I just do not think we need them anymore. I think that there are some things, charcuterie boards, buffets where you are handling all of your own food, and cruises, and blowing out candles on a birthday cake before you serve it to a group of people. There are things that shape us. Evolution, Darwinism, survival of the fittest.
What's up, everyone? It's Noah Daniels.
Hey, y'all, I'm JJ.
Hey, guys, it's Kat.
And we're your hosts of the Real Hauntings podcast, where we bring on guests who share their first-hand encounter ghost stories and supernatural experiences. Now on to the trailer.
I've been warned to not tell this story, but I think because of the way it ends, it's okay to tell this story, because some people say that with certain entities, to like speak of them or talk about them or in any way like portray them as powerful will attract them to other people. The creepiest thing about it to me is a lot of times it would wait for me to notice it. Like it would just lay its arm out like this, and then I'd be like, where is it? Where is it? And then I'd see it, and then it would just slither back.
For more information on the Real Hauntings, Real Ghost Stories podcast, make sure you check out real.fm to learn more about our podcast and many other amazing podcasts.
There are ways that the next generation, people have some more wisdom teeth than others. There are ways that we adapt to our surroundings, to the things that happen in our lives. And cruises were skating by for a long time. Sometimes something crazy would happen. We'd see a video, a cruise ship is like, oh no, there's sirens going, people need to get off. The cruise ship who like tried to make a hard right or a U-turn and then they like crash into something else. And you're like, oh, I wouldn't want to be stuck on a cruise. Then we've got TV shows and like people are getting sick on cruises. Then we have coronavirus, and one of the most, I'm not going to get into it because it's truly one of the most darkly intense, ridiculously sad articles. If anyone wants to read it about at the very beginning of the pandemic, the crew who was just stuck on board and could not leave.
There's a few.
And yeah, it was like this, it was the first couple months of it. And it's awful. Absolutely, absolutely awful. Now that we've gone through a pandemic altogether and we've seen how quickly these germs spread, the amount of like cruise ships that immediately had to get off, like that shit went around so fucking fast. They're norovirus, like other shit. Cruises are so expensive. We are asking people to shit where they eat. We're asking the workers to work with the people who they're friends with, fuck with those people. We're having people who like these shows of people who are singing like back-to-back shows like every single night, or they're doing like aquatic flips and all of this shit. Like you have people from like all over trying to like get these spots. They're not getting paid well. They're having to like do all of these sort of things. And like we're putting all of these people through the ringer, through all of this, and they're at sea. And I just think that let's dock it for a while.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think we need them anymore. And I think what should happen is I think symbolically we should set the cruise ships. Nobody's on them. We set them off to sea and we let them go find their other cruise ship friends.
We shouldn't do that because pollution and the ocean is already...
Okay, well, symbolically, we should draw a picture with that as like a goodbye to cruises.
Okay.
And we'll like write a whole fairy tale about that. And this all came to me because...
Oh, I was going to ask you, what was the inspiration? Because I'm pretty sure I know what your inspiration is.
Is it the new cruise ship? Melisa? When I
that thing
fucking...
looks tacky as hell.
That thing looks like a Black Mirror. It looks like Ryan Murphy. If Ryan Murphy designed a cruise ship with the person who made Final Destination.
Mm-hmm.
Like there is nothing fun about that. It is like the sheen is supposed to look like it's fun, but if you look closely, you go, this is not
scary and sad.
It's like an abandoned carnival amplified by 1,000 and just like covered in brightly colored paint to be like, everything's fine. Don't look over it. Like, blah, blah. Okay, I will include this. I'm going to include the picture.
In the vote.
I will also include the picture in the vote. This is in the new icon of the seas. And it looks like there's a reason why Scientology has a giant cruise ship where they just keep people there forever. It's a form of torture. This feels like you go there and you like sold your soul to someone and then it's like, now the sea has you now, lass. Like,
I don't understand why it needs to exist.
It doesn't. And they're expensive.
Mm-hmm.
That's the thing. Like, I understand like accessibility when it comes to vacations. You have everything like all in one place and everything there. Cruise ships, some can be more accessible than others. They're not like incredibly accessible more than other things. A lot of the time you have to get on airplanes to get to like where they're docking. They're not affordable. And like, there's just so much shit that like you go there. And then also the port towns that all the cruise ships go to, they have this whole faux idea that like, oh no, it's tourism. We're bringing all this like great stuff. But they literally make like these fake towns that look like Disneyland versions of these places that are not that. And they pay the people who work there to, whether it's to run zip lines there, to run tours there, all that, pay them like literal pennies. And then people just buy their little souvenirs and their trinkets and they get back on their boat and they're like, I've seen the world. And you know what? America's still the best. And you're like, what the fuck? It's just, we don't need it anymore.
No. The only thing that I do enjoy are the people that post on TikTok the twerking competitions that happen on them. I guess I'm on that side of TikTok, but they're always posting twerking competitions on cruise ships. And those I enjoy because some are good, some are bad. It's funny and it's inspiring. But other than that, can't say that I like to be sick on a boat.
It gives me the same vibe as Scary Island.
I thought you meant because they pinned this episode, or it was a couple episodes of Real Housewives of New York, Scary Island as well.
Well, I'm so sorry to cruise people, except I'm not. I tell cruise people to their face every day. Like, Jessie is a big fucking cruise girly. I don't want to say I'm happy that she had a terrible time on her last cruise, but Lily and I were like, finally, you've seen the light. When she was like, that sucked. And you were like, yeah, we've been trying to tell you for years that cruises sucked and you loved them. She's like, we should all go. I'm like, there's no shot you're going to catch us there.
The only one you're going to catch me on is the super yacht that me and Kyle are into.
Well, that's because the biggest issue you have with cruises is the other people. Yep. And in that, you and Kyle are just cherry picking who you want to attend.
Once we have millions of dollars, you'll be on that one too.
I just have to let you know too, the one thing about cruises that I don't think people talk about enough is you're like, oh, you've got your sea legs or whatever. Me and Claudia did a cruise and then I went to the other one after. But when we got back on land, I was walking like that for days.
Mhm.
It's such a not fun
That's
feeling.
not fun. I've been on one. It was just one that took me Florida to the Bahamas.
Yeah.
And it was only like a couple hours. And it was enough for me, honestly.
And those rooms are tiny.
Yeah. They had like, because it wasn't like one that you stay overnight, but they did have rooms where you could go lie down if you wanted to. It wasn't a good time. But that super yacht, you're going to have a big ass room.
And I'll have the C bands up to my elbow, and
Yep.
I'll just be constant. I have an IV of Dramamine.
Yeah.
Okay. I can hang with that.
I don't know if I'll actually be able to, but it's good. It's a good thought.
Do you get seasick?
Yeah.
Dude,
I get motion sickness.
Me too.
Time for a break.
Oh my gosh. We're back. And it's time for our second segment. Our second segment is called But Are You Wrong? And that is when you, listeners, you write in with your own predicaments, situations, things happening in your life that you want to know if you were the hero or the villain. Doesn't have to be totally present. Some people will be like, this has been weighing on my mind for like a year, or this is currently happening. Would I be wrong to do this? Was I wrong to do this? You submit them to butamiwrongpod@gmail.com. Keep them under 300 words, and they are all anonymous. So just make some fake names up. We do ask that you include your ages and other people's ages. If you want to include pronouns, please do so. But if you're going to give those fake names, if you want to do them, you don't have to do them based on like a bit of like a TV show characters. Just if you decide to do that, commit fully and make sure that they add up and line up correctly. Because we have had people who have referenced people as siblings and then they're dating in the story. And then I will automatically assume there's some incest vibes there, and it will reflect.
Yes. Trigger warning, ! Addiction, infidelity. I had an emotional and physical affair with my ex-spouse, and they don't know. What? On my ex-spouse?
I think on.
The marriage ended for a multitude of other reasons. The split was hard, but feelings were mutual. We eventually went no contact for a few months to make processing the split easier. We're friendly again in different states with no intentions of developing any kind of relationship past where we are now. The secrecy of the affair was wrong, and I'm not trying to excuse it, but do they have to know? I don't think it'd be productive or necessary. But I feel bad having some kind of friendship now, still keeping it a secret. More details. It was with the girl they were worried about, my ex, and I got together in our early 20s and split in our late 20s. Another trigger warning. Main reasons for splitting were their struggles with mental health and drug addiction and my codependency, which eventually led to violence in the home, arrests, and evictions. Everyone involved is now 28 to 30 years old. We're from an area where people get married too young. I was in therapy until recently, navigating some insurance BS right now and can't afford to pay anything out of pocket. Haven't spoken to my therapist about this specifically yet. Thank you. Love your work.
I love the ending of that. I was like, please read it.
I think at this point, you don't need to tell them. And the reason why you would tell them is because you're guilty and you feel like it will cleanse your consciousness if you tell them. And I don't think like you said, like there were other reasons you broke up there. And those reasons you gave are very, very, very like serious. So you live in different states. You don't plan on getting together again. You're just friendly. You're not friends. I just don't think that anything good will come out of this. I think it'll make things worse. But honestly, I don't think you should even be friends with them either.
So that's what I think. I think if you want to stay friends with someone, my whole thing is like if you are withholding information that will change the course of action that someone, like if someone wouldn't want to be if they wouldn't want to be friends with you because of this, and you know that, I feel the same thing with like, you know, if someone has cheated on another person, a couple, and they're like, oh, I'm not going to tell. Like if you think something that you did will change if that person, what course of life and what choices that they are going to make, that I do think is not okay because you are agreeing to something under false pretenses and that lying by omission, you're removing that person's like agency from that decision. But I don't think that this is a friendship you should be having right now.
Yeah, so I think you're wrong to have a friendship with them. I just think it's just, you're going to tell because you think that's going to make your conscience clear.
Yeah.
And that's putting more on them than they require. Like if y'all were still married, I'd be like, yes.
Yeah.
Tell them. But this isn't something that you're not legally bound to each other anymore. And again, you're telling them to clear your conscience because you feel guilty.
Yeah, I also wonder if you think that, or you know to your core that they would not want to be friends anymore and it's too hard. You'd rather them make that call than you make that call. But I think if you didn't tell them and you maintained a friendship, you would be wrong. And I think if you told them and you maintained a friendship, you would be wrong. And I think you would be right if you did not say anything and stepped away from this friendship totally.
Yeah. And then also, like, if you tell them, it's going to trigger things like, because you said that they had struggles with mental health, drug addiction. Also, there was violence. Like, do you feel safe telling them?
Yeah.
Is this going to, like, mess with their mental health? I just don't think this is I just think you just need to break ties with them. You went no contact for a while. Go back no contact.
Mm-hmm. And, like, I don't know what role when you're talking about their struggles with mental health and drug addiction, that's on them. You talk about your codependency and then all of those which are leading to violence in the home, arrests and evictions. Like,
and
I don't know.
You didn't mention if it was from you or from them. And
to me, regardless of which role you're at in that, this is not a healthy, these are not the makings of a healthy relationship. If it was not a healthy relationship in a romantic way, for all of these reasons, you take out the romantic aspect. This is not a healthy foundation for a friendship. It's not a healthy foundation for even acquaintances. Like, this is just not healthy, period. Just because you remove the marriage aspect of it doesn't soften this thing that is incredibly volatile. And I don't think that you need to tell them, because I don't think you should be friends with them, you know? But I do think if you were friends with them and that was just the second half of this wasn't there, I do think you need to tell them so they know that, you know, would they want to be friends with you otherwise? Like, maybe they wouldn't feel comfortable with that, but there is no reason to maintain or foster this friendship. I don't think it's healthy or helpful for either of you at all. And I think it's out of obligation because it feels like I don't want to say that I'm putting words in your mouth, but like when you put so much time and energy and effort and so much of your adolescent years into a relationship, totally walking away from that is like, well, what did I get out of it? And it's like, you don't have to have somebody to show for that. Like, you're the person you have to show for that. Like, your growth and like your own evolution, your change and all of that. Like, that's what you put those years into that relationship for. That's what you benefit from in the long run.
Yep.
So end the friendship.
Oh, well, on a lighter note, what you got?
On a lighter note. Hey, Meghan and Melisa. Sorry. Hi, Meghan and Melisa. I, 22, they, them, am an international Swiftie and luckily managed to get tickets to 3 of the 4 nights Taylor's performing in my country. 2 single tickets and 1 set for me and my partner. The pre and general sales were a nightmare, and whilst I was lucky, many weren't, including one of my friends, they, them, 20, who is a huge Swiftie as well. They tweeted complaining about people who got multiple dates, and I have not said that I got more than 1 date. I feel bad, and I'm now thinking that I should sell them one of my tickets for the price I got it. Am I wrong for getting 4 tickets across multiple dates, wanting to keep them? Thanks. Love you both. Yes.
I have such strong feelings about concert tickets.
Yeah. And so I have lots of feelings about concert culture in general. And like, if you've been watching me for a while, like, there is truly nobody who could get on this internet and say Meghan's a bandwagon Swiftie. Like, I have been a Taylor Swift fan literally since beginning, like very, very early on in her career. And that has been my public, people have looked at that. But I remember being a huge Taylor Swift fan, being a big Jonas Brothers fan too, and meeting people at concerts who would look down on view my fandom because I hadn't gone to as many concerts that they had gone to. And I'm like, only time I'm going to concerts is once I got a job and I could afford tickets to go. And like, you have a parent who's spending all this money to fly you to all these things and like to take you to every single one of the, you've been able to have these like meet and greet access, like all of this kind of stuff. Like that's how that stuff usually happens. And now in the age of social media, we are seeing those people have always existed who have gone to absolutely everything. But the difference is now that the access of having money and the ability to get yourself to all of those things has always made people like view themselves as better fans than other people. But now when you have like the scarcity of tickets, the price jump of all of these fucking tickets, and the fact that people don't perform as many of these shows, whether they're bigger stadium shows or not in as many cities, and people have a harder time getting to them or wherever it is, there is no need to see someone more times when that ticket could go to somebody who will not be seeing them during this time. Like I think if you can get tickets to go multiple times, I truthfully have no issue. No, that's not true. Because I have an issue with scalpers and I have an issue with people upselling tickets. But if you want to go multiple times to a show, you buy your tickets on the secondary market the day of with a massive fucking markup. Those tickets were going to get bought by someone else at your same level. Like that, okay. That's already happened. You buying those tickets if you don't buy those tickets, that doesn't mean that problem is going to stop happening. But in the pre-sale shit, like that was also just like pure fucking luck for so many people. And Mott's got tickets and I didn't. And so I look at that and know that, yes, we can get wrapped up in the fact that you see people who have gone to Harry Styles. Like when he was in LA, they went to every single one of his shows. And it becomes like, I've gone every night. I've got all of these things. There's no need. There's no need to do that because it's not a victimless crime. You know, like you're using access and also sheer luck to, I deserve it. And it's like, well, you didn't do it. Like there is none of that. And I also can't stress enough how much more fun it is to share these experiences with friends, whether you go to the same concerts or not, but like being able to have a friend who also went and then you get to talk about it afterwards. Like that's so fun. That is like a lasting connection and a lasting memory, not just making that less special every time you go night after night, you know?
Yeah. For Beyonce tickets, I was in the pre-sale for Chicago. And then, my friend Catherine was in the pre-sale for Chicago. I was in the pre-sale for LA. We were going to go together no matter what. It's going to be either one. We didn't get pre-sale, even though we signed up immediately when it was available. My friend Avia got pre-sale in Houston, but then our other friend got pre-sale there too. So she's going to be sitting with our other friend. Me and Catherine bought Avia's tickets. You know, no.
When I tell you I panicked when she canceled the show because I couldn't remember which one you got tickets to. And I was like, oh God, no. And then I scrolled up in our text messages when you told me and I was like, thank fucking God. Because it was Chicago, wasn't it? Or Pitt?
I don't even know.
It was one of the ones that you were talking about. Maybe I'll go to this one or maybe I'll go to this one. And I couldn't remember. And I was devastated. But I was so happy when I realized.
I think back to like when I was trying to go to Hamilton. Now that I've seen the movie, I'm like, glad I didn't. People that were going to see Hamilton multiple times, and when they knew that the list was so long of people that couldn't get in, and then like the lottery system, like I had a friend, I entered when they started playing here in LA, I entered the lottery every chance that I got. I never got it. This friend got it 3 times and she went to every single one. And I'm like, that is so selfish. And I even said it to her. I was like, you know how much I want to go. And there's thousands of other people that want to go too. And you've now gone 3 times. How is that fair? And she was just like,
there's some people who believe they earn their luck.
Yes.
And I think that's one of like the most icky things that I wouldn't be able to sit with myself. I would feel like I'd feel so bad because I know I didn't do anything to earn. I didn't earn this. Like it was luck, and that luck is the exact opposite of earning something.
Exactly. And so when something is, it would be one thing like if these things weren't sold out everywhere. And then when it is like tickets are available now, they're 3, 4, 5 times as much as they were at the face value. Like, I don't think it's fair at all that scalpers can sell tickets for so much more. And then I also don't think it's fair that people get to go to multiple shows. Like, it's just not fair. And especially, like, you're being a bad friend if you keep the tickets and you go twice and your friend doesn't get to go at all. Like, that's not nice.
And like, you have to think that like if you were in the opposite position, that would feel so fucking shitty. And I just think that like, are you gonna not post about it? Like, is this a thing that you'd be comfortable like standing your ground in and know that if the roles were reversed that they would do the same thing to you? Like, does that feel good at this at all? Like, I think concerts are so special, and I think social media has really like diluted some of the specialness for them, because now people are like trying to catch like special songs or like, you know, like, different like little like things that someone is doing on stage. Like, oh, I saw Blue Ivy when she was wearing this outfit. I saw like these like I was there for this one. And it's no longer about like, oh, we all had this collective experience about all attending this tour, this moment in time. But it's like, oh no, how many of these special moments can I say that I was physically there for? And I don't watch tour videos beforehand. Like, I don't watch, I literally like skimmed the set list for Taylor Swift because I was like, I just want to make sure. All I really wanted to do was to be like, I just want to make sure that I'm not going to be holding out hope for certain songs to be played when I know they're not going to be. So I skimmed as fast as I fucking could and was like, okay, cool. Okay, cool. So I know some ones that I'm like, okay, that's not going to be on it and I'll be fine. But like, I don't watch it every single time because it dilutes how special it is. And then we feel like in order for it to be special, we have to like hyper consume this. And I think to be like the best fan of any artist, I have found like when we were looking for Taylor, when I didn't think we were going to get Taylor Swift tickets and Mott's got that presale, the amount of people who messaged me who was like, hey, I have extra tickets. I'll sell them to you for face value. When I mentioned in a video, someone asked if I was going to go to another show. I was like, the only other one I might want to go to is August 8th because Gracie Abrams is opening, or maybe it's August 5th. I'm not sure whichever one was, but I was like, but I don't want to dilute how special it is on my birthday. But that would be one. If I went, I would buy tickets the day of. And I had people message me be like, hey, I have tickets for the 8th. If you want to buy them face value from me. I'm like, I'm totally good. If you have them the day of still, shoot me a message. I might, but I'm not going to. Feel free to give them to a friend, anything like that. There's just a way that we do this usually. And like right now, it's like we've all fucking stopped doing that. And it was okay to go to multiple shows, to do all those things and to spend all of like your hard-earned money on it. That's totally okay when there was a plethora and other people could do the same thing when the access point was purely just money. That already sucks. It's already a hurdle that a lot of people are never going to reach. But when you have that and you add in luck, that to me is just, that's not one that is fair at all. Yeah. And it will make your concert experience less special as well.
Yep.
You know, like seeing one of your favorite artists should never be like, I'm actively know that I'm hurting one of my friends while I'm doing this.
Yeah.
Like,
and I don't think you would have written in if you didn't feel a little bit of guilt about it already.
Yeah. If you wouldn't tell someone about it, that's a fact of like, you feel guilty that you have that and you don't need it this much. And like, how much more fun is it to like share that experience with your friend and like tell them about it? Like, oh my God, did you love when this happened and this? Like, that's what this is really about. It doesn't change that much night to night. Then you can watch the streams, like watch the videos of that, but it dilutes your own experience.
Right.
You know, like it makes that less special. And that's part of the reason why I'm not watching the live streams is because like I've never gone to a Taylor Swift show knowing everything that's going to happen, knowing all of the visuals. I don't want to know.
I don't want to. Anytime I see a Beyonce thing pop up, I scroll right past it.
Yep.
Because I don't want to know. I want to be surprised.
Yeah.
Because that's part of the experience.
That's what the concert tour videos are for after. That's what all of that stuff you can watch that after. But like, and it's hard to recreate that moment pre-internet of what concerts were like. But like, you can with avoiding it. Anyways.
All right. Well, we're going to take another break and we'll be back.
Hey, y'all.
Hey, dude.
Hey, little mama, let me whisper in your ear.
Hey, little mama, let me whisper in your ear.
Perfect.
Anyway, now it's time for But Are They Wrong? And that's when we pick somebody from pop culture, in the news, in the zeitgeist, that we think is the Rachel of the week.
That's
Anything
absolutely
to add to that,
perfect. You
Megan?
are spot on. You are right. And I'm ready to hear yours.
My Rachel of the week is this man who walked into the First Nail Salon in Atlanta, Georgia.
Melissa,
And
I'm
yelled,
so excited for you to share this with the class.
yes, and yelled, "Everybody get down." He had his hand in a bag of some sort, trying to make it look like he was brandishing some weapon or whatever.
That he was packing.
Yeah. But the witnesses indicated the suspect by kind of like just looking at them and acknowledging their presence there. He was wearing a blue hat, some sunglasses, jeans, and he was like, "Give me your money." But there's video of this. No one moved. No one budged. They were just like looked around unbothered, so unbothered by this man. And then he strolled over to an employee and demanded, "Where's the money?" But the employee was on the phone talking to a customer and was just like, "Hello, sorry, whatever." And did not acknowledge this man either. And then this one woman, I guess she was just like, "I got to get this man out of this building," because they're like, "We got to get our nails done." She stands up and walks outside and was like, "I don't have any money." And he just kind of just got fed up.
He looked so defeated.
He looked so defeated.
I kind of felt bad for him at the end.
And so he fled in a silver sedan. No one has been able to identify him. And so he's the Rachel of the week because, like, how embarrassing.
Like, you know, it's like some movies you like root for them to like rob the bank. You like root for those things. I'm never going to root for someone to like stick up like a seemingly a small mom and pop nail salon.
Yeah.
But in that moment, I go, God, you did such a bad job that like
such a bad job.
I have so much secondhand embarrassment for you that like I also like try again, maybe, buddy. Like, let's plan a little bit. Like, what was the plan?
But also, it's like at this point, robbing most businesses is useless because no one has cash. No one has cash anymore. A lot of the nail salons I go to, they're like, "We don't accept cash."
I was gonna say I was like, this had to have been like a spur of the moment thing, but like there are some few nail salons that are like, "Oh, we only take cash," but you would have had to like, know
you're
that.
supposed to, before you do a robbery, you're supposed to case the joint.
Go on Yelp at least,
right?
Like, check out about that. Like, I literally I saw it on TikTok. I cringed so fucking hard, and I just like love that there are people who obviously like are employees who work in the store together, and so like they all know their vibes. The customers were all catching the exact same vibe.
Yeah.
Like everybody was on the same level of like, what are you doing here? I also applaud the customers for not laughing.
Yeah, I could see it in them.
Like I was like, you guys are so fucking committed, and I see the hilarity behind your eyes.
Yeah,
but they weren't cracking a smile.
No one.
No, they made him feel so stupid. I feel like he went home and I feel like he cried on the way home.
He did.
What song do you think he listened to in his silver sedan crying on the way home?
I don't even think that it was a song on. I think his tears
silence?
were his only soundtrack.
Wow.
His sobbing.
And the lip quiver and the little shaky. And then he definitely parked his car and he sat in the car for a while. He reclined a little bit and he just thought about what he did.
Yeah.
And he went, "You're so stupid." And he walked by the mirrors in his home and he was like, "I can't even look at you."
Then he like put one arm up on a window in his house and just kind of looked forlornly outside.
Yeah. And then he was like, he watched a feel-good comfort movie afterwards. When in reality, what he should have done is watch a pump-up movie before. Wow. I'm so sorry to this man.
Yeah, but
and turns out people see him walking down the street, they wouldn't know a thing.
They wouldn't know a thing. But, people rob for a reason, so I do feel bad. But like he probably needed the money for something. But go after the big corporations. You don't go after the little stores.
Yeah. And I would urge you, like, there are so many ways you can prepare for this. Dream bigger and plan better.
Yeah.
I do like the not having a weapon though.
Yeah.
It
was a nice touch.
Yeah, that's my favorite part. Like, I don't think he should get a weapon.
Mm-hmm.
You know, unless like we're taking down someone who, you know, he thinks deserves like a real villain here. But, you know.
And then I feel like because the nail salon is like not taking comments from the media. So they're like.
They just like don't
give a shit.
Part of me wonders and like,
do y'all know him?
Yeah, does he do this a lot?
Yeah.
And they're just like, that's Richard.
Yeah.
Like he does that. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, I'm like,
here he comes again.
Yeah, and then I was like, don't mind him.
This time we're just gonna release a video. Maybe it'll deter him from coming back again.
They have like one of their kids is like big on social media. They're like, you have to do something. They're like, okay,
whatever.
Begrudgingly famous.
Yeah,
I want to support that salon too. Well, good nomination.
Thank you.
So for my wrong of the week, I would like to nominate Jonah Hill. The world has been talking about this, and not to say I knew this band before everybody else, but I just would say this felt like Firefest to me, where I was online at the exact moment that things were happening.
That's how I was with Firefest because I was awake.
You and I both
Firefest
were, and we figured that out later. We both were silently going, "What is going on?" So I want to recommend the Faux Moi. It's the Dumois, fake Dumois subreddit. If you're into pop culture, but you're into pop culture with more good takes than bad, that's where I would be. They are highly critical of Dumois, and they are one of the few places on the internet I find that the discussions of pop culture, there's some nuance there and some progressive views there and some awareness of things. So they had posted it, and like there was hardly any fucking comments. Or it was like, is anybody else seeing this happen? So Sarah Brady was Jonah Hill's ex-girlfriend. They dated from 2021 until like, I think summer of 2022, about a year-ish or so. There are different reports on how old she is. I'm not sure if you found on her Instagram if she had like a specific reported age, but they're reporting her now. The oldest reporting her is 26, but some places are reporting her now as being 24.
See, I was seeing they were together when she was 22.
So to me, I'm thinking that she was with him at 22, which would make her 24. And it's these weird new places, like the new SEO ones that are recent are coming up saying she's 26. But anything that is about when they were dating that's not updated with the current happenings is calling her 24, which goes along with my final theory, which allegedly I do think Jonah Hill's PR team is buying bots.
Yes, I saw the bots and I was like, seems suspicious.
And I think those same people are buying placements on ads on websites that are reputable or not, citing her age as 26, not 24. So she is a semi-pro surfer, an instructor, a model, and a law student. And let it be known that Jonah Hill is 39 years old. So she posted on her Instagram story a bunch of screenshots of their text messages. Not only are they just screenshots, but like videos of her recording them and scrolling through, basically being like, I got out of an incredibly toxic and emotionally abusive relationship. And as I'm coming out the other end of this, it's really important to me to share this with other women, to know the signs and the red flags, to like get the fuck out. And the first slew of messages and videos that she recorded and she shared talking about this, I think she, even before she started sharing screenshots, she started reposting photos on her Instagram that she like previously took this down at the request of a narcissistic ex-boyfriend, like learning to put these things back up and like enjoy these things. Like she couldn't even get into a bathing suit. Like she couldn't post photos of her. Like it took her a lot confidence-wise to post photos and was like, I'm ready to do these things. And people knew that she dated him. And so then lots of people were accusing her of lying. And so that's when she started releasing these screenshots to prove this. And the shit that he says makes perfect sense for a man who made a documentary dedicated to his therapist, which the ethics of that, I remember reading a bunch of articles when I heard about it. I like wanted to watch it at first because I was like, what the fuck could this be? Like,
I didn't even know this existed.
It's called Schultz. I don't remember.
I see it now, yeah.
So he did a whole documentary about his therapist, and that piqued my interest because how the fuck do you do that? Like, are you interviewing your therapist? This is your current therapist. What is the point of this documentary? How is this a healthy relationship between you and your therapist? Like, are you airing your therapy sessions? Is this going to be like that HBO show, like the couples therapy one where they talk through all of those things? No, it's like an ode and a love letter to his therapist in an interview and kind of a praising sense, but also like a we're on the same level. There's no, the word boundaries, like you said, there's not healthy boundaries there. Mm-hmm. And I never ended up watching it. And I just read a bunch of articles. I'm like, am I odd in thinking this feels like really fucking weird? And a lot of people are like, this is really fucking weird. Like, this is not a healthy sort of dynamic to do. And who else besides an emotionally fragile, toxic, narcissistic person would send these text messages is, of course, the man who made this documentary. So he is just weaponizing therapy speak in all of these messages. I can read a couple of them. The main one that Melisa read earlier on about like these are my boundaries, blah, 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 blah. That one has become like people are saying like my summer to-do list. Mm-hmm. And that's what I'm going to do. But in all of the messages, he says that she needs to stop talking to these men. She needs to stop hanging out with these different friends. She needs to not wear like these bikinis, like half naked, thoughty photos, even though this man slid into her DMs with her own fucking photo of her in a bathing suit surfing. So everything that you liked about this woman and you were interested in her for, as soon as you felt like you quote unquote got her, immediately that had to stop. Mm-hmm. Because in your narcissistic, egotistical mind, she did that just for you. And now it's like, oh, well, what do you mean you're not going to take that down? I assumed that you lived your entire existence trying to get me to notice you. And now I noticed you, you won. As if women, their lives are curated and modeled to appease and to please and attract these men. That's genuinely, I think he truly believes his own bullshit. And she has gone on and on about all of these different ones, but saying like he then started sending her pictures of ones she needed to delete and her being like, oh, okay, so this one. He's like, yeah, blah, blah, blah. He changed the cover photo of one of her surfing videos. Yes, the one that isn't your ass in a thong. She says, not a thong, but K. As far as other pictures, you in a bathing suit surfing or not, I'm done. There's tons. I'm just going back the past month. You want to argue and I don't. I'm just over explaining myself. And then she said, this makes me feel like you're testing me to see if you should keep me around or dump me because there's something wrong with me and I'm a nerdy, dorky, unaware, naive idiot socially. Those are your words, not mine. You're right. We can't do surf social things or develop trust until you consider me and make decisions that give regard to our relationship. I've been vulnerable as possible and I'm telling you, I'm needing you to step up to the plate, which you can, I'm sure of it. But these losers don't get your time if you want me. Straight up. It's consideration. I respect your love of surfing, but I respect myself as well. And your love of surfing and being in those situations and lack of awareness are not mutually exclusive. This isn't me. I have my own issues that I own. If you want marriage and a family, you can't use a 25 card. Step up and get your shit done. I don't get time or kindness to sacrifice. I don't know what that one means.
So that says her age. Right
okay.
There.
Oh, yeah. So then, yeah, who the fuck knows? He then also says, I love how your therapist thinks I suck. I literally am the best boyfriend on earth.
That, when I read that part, I
know exactly who he is.
So hard. And I was like, if you have to tell yourself that you're the best boyfriend and you truly believe that you're the best boyfriend, you're a piece of shit.
And then they started going to a couples therapist that he chose. Mm-hmm. And then that couples therapist said, okay, so every time that you come across a man in the water who's talking to you, you have to swim away. You have to get out. You can't surf with them. And so he then said, so she said, she instructed us to come up with a safe word when Jonah was yelling at me. It was supposed to be pineapple. And the whole thing is truly just fucked. The response of men on social media about this is baffling because they're saying like, oh, no, he's having standards and this is what he wants and what he doesn't want. Your deal breakers are no one else's business. Mm-hmm. So telling someone, these are my deal breakers that have never existed before. You're allowed to have new deal breakers come on in your life.
Yeah.
But what those deal breakers are is that decision has been done. The thing that you have done or I have done or something that has happened, that has happened. The deal has been broken. I am done. Not, here you go. Don't pick wrong.
Mm-hmm. Change.
That's not a deal breaker.
Mm-hmm.
A deal breaker is a deal breaker for you. Someone else. It is not someone else doing something that I didn't know it was a deal breaker for you. No, that is a deal breaker is a deal breaker. And it usually boils down to who you are at your core. Me, political beliefs, a deal breaker.
Yep.
Like, and I don't need to tell you that that's my deal breaker. This idea that this is like, he was tricked by her, that now suddenly goes, well, no, they weren't together before. And he didn't know that this is how she'd be in a relationship. I go, so you chased after a woman who then you thought as soon as you were in a relationship, she would change everything about her. So then why did you chase her? What did you like about her?
Right.
If she's changing everything you liked about her. So what was the relationship conditions on? Like, what are you striving towards? Like, are you committing to someone who you truly don't know because you want her to change everything about herself? He has a merch company that is called Meaningful Existence that he launched about a month ago, which he launched promoed for the first time with him and Lisa Rinna wearing all of it at a Lakers game. And here's the thing. The whole thing is based on the brand, on a satirical take of wellness companies. He's saying that is centered on a fictional cult leader played by him called Prophet Ezekiel. Prophet, and prophet, the first one is that person's a prophet. The second one is the financial prophet, played by him, where he wears a curly brunette wig. So he is pretending to make a cult joke and hiding his true abusive, misogynistic, narcissistic traits in there by prancing around playing this character. My same feelings about there's a reason why method actors only method act to be who they really are. He's hiding it in plain sight. So he can say, it's a joke, babe. Like, this is all satire. And the quote that he has used in his text messages with her and also uses in his merchandise is complete unrelenting control. That has been a tagline on his merch before these text messages leaked of him using that phrasing with her, that this is something that he's using in his quote unquote satirical merchandise, but then also using in conversations with his real life girlfriend. A lot of people think that he made this merch as a response and this was the after. I did some digging. The merch has been up before these text messages were leaked. I don't know if he knew, if she reached out to his now girlfriend and sent her ahead. Like, if he knew, I don't think he started this whole merch line with that. And I think it low-key makes it worse because it's not a petty response. It's truly just a narcissist who believes that he can get away with saying something in real life and using that as a character and saying that one is a joke and one clearly is not. And now both are not a joke because they can't both be jokes. If one is satire, but you use it in real life, that's not satire at all. And like, your fun cosplay is of a cult leader and you're just obsessed with control over these women. Okay, cool. So the other part that is hilarious to me. So Meaningful Existence, this is from their website, is a mission-driven lifestyle company and wellness community that offers high-quality products and supports mental health and therapy resources. Our goal is to help remove the stigma around prioritizing mental well-being. They also have a scholarship program to address the critical shortage of mental health professionals nationwide, and they have an application process for students in pursuing careers in the field to potentially receive $5,000 towards tuition and other fees related to financial obligations, which also feels incredibly rich since in some of his text messages, he weaponizes the fact that he has more financial control over her. And that's one of the benefits that he brought her and how she's not being thankful, like, these things that I've given you, the financial aspect of it. So I would urge to people to read the text messages. Fair warning, they're like a lot of like, you know.
So swarmy with like he's just so swarmy.
And it just makes so much sense to me. And recently, Alexa Nicholas also called him out. You might remember her. She was on Zoe 101. She's been incredibly vocal about the predatory nature of being a child star, a victim of Dan Schneider, and previous relationships that she's been in. And she chronicled her experience with Jonah Hill at a party when she was young, like maybe 18. And she talks about how he's offering her a cigarette, but it's in his car. And he's like, do you want a cigarette? And she's like, oh, sure. He's like, oh, come out to my car to get it. And she's like, you can just like bring it back inside. And he's doing everything all night to get her alone and finally gets her alone and just shoves his tongue down her throat. And this is who he is. And this is one of those people that now everyone, like all of the algorithms and everything is people videos of Seth Rogen where someone asked Seth Rogen, like, who is the hardest actor you've ever had to work with? And before he even finishes it, it's a multiple choice. Which one of these actors? He says Jonah Hill.
Really?
Before they even offer the multiple choice.
I didn't even know that because Seth Rogen basically gave Jonah Hill a career.
I think Seth Rogen regrets it.
He wrote a part for himself, and then by the time it was sold, he had aged out of it. And Jonah Hill has, at the time, similar like looks to what Seth Rogen was, and so he got him to do it. Wow. Yep. I didn't know that.
And Jonah Hill's bestie, you would think it would have been Seth Rogen. No, it's Leonardo DiCaprio. And one of the things I find absolutely hilarious is after he needs his partner to never wear a swimsuit, to not wear swimsuits, only cover up, not show any skin, anything like that. Yeah, picture I've just been seeing pop up everywhere is him and Leo in the ocean with a unnamed woman, literal titties out, topless woman, and both of them stoked on shit there. Okay. Okay, for sure. So the latest update in all of this is she has since released more messages about how they had been sexting while there was an overlap in relationships. They had already broken up, and he is with who is now the mother of his child. And these messages are legitimately, like, I almost laughed at them because she's saying, like, well, basically what happens is there's these tabloids that are showing pictures of Jonah and this new girlfriend, and they're citing them as being Sarah. And she goes, can you please tell your team to correct this? Like, that's not me. Like, we're broken up, and like, this does not feel like, I know that you're dating someone new, but like, yeah, this doesn't feel good that we've been like sexting for the last 3 months. And then these pictures of you come out. And he was like, well, you should, like, it was an invasion of my privacy. Like, but like essentially being like, I'm a victim of paparazzi. She goes, I don't want my name associated with this. Like, clearly, like, is trying to let go of this relationship that has been absolutely horrible and toxic and is still enmeshed in this. And is like, I don't want to be publicly, I'm trying to have a career. I'm trying to do this. And like, this is done so for me. And then he goes, what are you talking about? Like, we never sexted. And she goes, what? We've been sexting and you've been in this relationship. And he goes, no, not over the time. Like, it's during a perfectly acceptable time. And then like 4 messages later, he goes, yeah, what? So we sexted. And I'll go, you literally just said that never happened before. It's just complete denial of a fact that they both have. She searches up the sex. She circles the dates. And he goes, well, yeah, we were sexting. What about it? He goes, you literally denied that happened. And she said, if you're serious with this girl, I do think you owe it to her to let her know that you and I had still been talking over this time. Like, I don't think it's fair that she should know that this overlapped. And he's like, oh my God, why would you? Just goes off on it. Like, oh my God, this man is absolutely shocked that anybody could change the narrative and the fiction that he has painted as his own life. You are not a reliable narrator, sir, and you are not existing in isolation. You are having interactions with other people, and you are baffled when they have the facts that do not align with this fiction fantasy that you have created. So the thing that has really fucking killed me is that since the release of those second text messages, lots of people everywhere have gone, okay, well, yeah, he did a really bad thing, but I don't think this needs to be shared publicly. Or she's gone too far now. Or that wasn't good, but now she's not coming across so nicely or so well. And we're getting to the stage of, this person is not a perfect victim in my eyes, and I don't like how they've been handling this. So therefore, I don't think that they should say anything and they should stay silent. And we want women to speak up about emotional abuse. Where, if not publicly? Her making this public, a likening, not a kinning. I spelled that wrong there. A likening her making this public with it's just as bad essentially as what he did, or the qualifying, like, yeah, what he did wasn't great, but her doing this, no. Apples and oranges, those are not the same thing. It's truly batshit, and it furthers the cycle of shame and abuse, and that's what keeps people in these relationships. And then we shame people for staying in these relationships. Yet when they speak out about these relationships, that's also not okay. And I personally believe if you are abusive, you do not deserve privacy. And abuse thrives in private, and it should be shamed in public. Calling out an abuser in private is dangerous and oftentimes deadly and not effective. That does not further change. And that doesn't mean that everybody needs to call out their abusers in public. But when people do call out their abusers in public, there are so many other abusers who don't ever get called out, and for the few people who are in a place of safety, security, and are in the headspace to be able to do that, is a fraction of the abuse that actually happens. Yet we're going to shame that and be like, no, keep that behind. That's your private business. Abuse is not a private business. No. And I really hope that his current girlfriend and mother to his child, Olivia, can get out and her child are okay and safe, because this is like nasty and disgusting. And his merch line has disabled comments on those posts.
How did Lisa Rinna, these are two people that are emotionally and verbally abusive. How did they get linked up together?
Maybe they share a therapist or something.
I could see that, actually.
I really fucking hate him. And I also really hate seeing this turn in like the narrative of suddenly there's too much you can be speaking about your abuse. And when it makes people uncomfortable or they feel like it's overkill, and then therefore it is no longer valid. Like, scream it from the fucking rooftops. Like, you should be angry. You can say whatever you want as often as you want, as many times as you want, as loud as you fucking want. That doesn't make it any less true. That doesn't dilute your point at all. Like, and I'm seeing it come from other women and like reporters and like just like very prominent Twitter accounts. Like, if that's your inside thought, you should be ashamed and then keep it inside your fucking head.
Yep.
Which I do also find slightly ironic that like you think she's speaking too much about this publicly, that it's a little bit overkill. And this should be kept in private, but you're going to tweet about it publicly and it has nothing to do with you or your life. Don't you think you should keep that in private? Yeah.
All right. Well, agree 100%. All right. Well, that's the end of our show.
Well, we hope you all enjoyed. If you did, you can leave us a review in the podcast app or Spotify. You can also leave a review for the specific episode. Always, you can send us things you would like us to talk about on the show. Tag us. If it's a disturbing thing or something that's triggering, please send us a message before.
Not after.
Not after. And also not tagging us in the video. Because if it's TikTok, it automatically plays without any sort of context or anything like that. Please do so like that. And we do like to, see what you want us to talk about. And you can vote for who you think was wrong in all these situations. And we'll circle back next week.
We will.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
But Am I Wrong is a production by me, Megan Rinks.
And me, Melissa DeMonts, plus Diamond Imprint Productions.
Post-production by Coco Lorenz.
And production assistance by Melanie D. Watson.
Listening to a podcast should be time well spent. And I promise it will be if you'll give this podcast a try. It's called Something You Should Know. I'm the host, Mike Carruthers, and in every episode, I talk with leading experts on topics I know you will find fascinating. From why people can't keep secrets, what your favorite music says about you, why your pet acts in strange ways, and so much more. Something You Should Know is designed to give you information you can use in your life and give you great intel that you can share with others. I'm told it's a binge-worthy podcast. And with over 1,000 episodes, there's a lot to binge on. Something You Should Know has been ranked in the top of the Apple Podcast charts consistently for a long time. I know you're going to like this. I just need to get you to try it. Something You Should Know. It's available wherever you listen to podcasts.
Contained herein are the heresies of Radolf Buntwine, erstwhile monk turned traveling medical investigator. Join me as I study the secrets of the divine plagues and uncover the blasphemous truth that ours is not a loving God, and we are not its favored children. The heresies of Radolf Buntwine, wherever podcasts are available.